Sombre is one of those films that lingers long after the credits roll, not because it's an enjoyable experience, but because it's so deeply unsettling. Directed by Philip Grando, this is an house horror movie that dives headfirst into the darkest aspects of human nature, offering no comfort and no easy answers, and very little relief from its oppressive tone. The story centers on a sexually frustrated serial killer drifting across the French countryside, committing acts of extreme sexual violence against women. Along the way, he becomes fixated on a woman he encounters, forming a strange and uneasy connection with her. What makes this dynamic so disturbing is the ambiguity. There's no clear emotional grounding, no traditional character development, and no sense that what we're watching is leaning towards redemption or understanding. Instead, the film operates in a murky psychological space where actions feel instinctive rather than reasoned. Narratively, Sombre is deliberately minimalistic, dialogue is sparse, and the film relies heavily on atmosphere, physicality, and visual storytelling. This can make the film feel slow and at times almost moving at a snail's pace, but that seems to be the intention of the movie. This isn't a film that wants to guide you, it wants to trap you in its world and force you to sit with its discomfort. The ending, much like the rest of the film, is left open to interpretation, which will likely divide some viewers. Some will find it thought provoking, I reckon, while others may see it as frustratingly vague. From a filmmaking perspective, there is no denying the level of craft on display. The cinematography is striking and beautiful at the same time, often bathing scenes in deep shadows and muted tones that give the film almost a dreamlike and nightmarish quality. Even the daytime scenes incredibly dark, so much so that it occasionally becomes difficult to make out details. It's unclear whether this is a stylistic choice or an issue with the version I watched, but either way, it contributes to the film's suffocating atmosphere. The performances are equally committed. The actors fully immerse themselves in these deeply uncomfortable roles, conveying emotion through subtle physical cues rather than dialogue. There's a rawness to the acting that feels authentic, even when the source material itself is extremely hard to watch. That brings us to the most important aspect of Sombre, its content. This is not just a dark film, it's a extremely disturbing one. There explicit triple X rated scenes in this movie, including repeated depictions of sexual assault and rape. These moments are not implied or glossed over, although some scenes done in an artistic way, they're still very disturbing, and they are shown in a way that is confrontational and at times very difficult to endure. Because of this, the film absolutely requires a strong trigger warning. It's not something you can separate from the experience. It is the experience, unfortunately. There are also moments that feel surreal or symbolic, such as scenes of people speaking in tongues, which add to the film's disorienting and almost hypnotic tone. These sequences don't come with explanations, and much of the film, their meaning is left up to interpretation. They contribute to the sense that you're watching something more abstract than literal, a descent into a fractured, unstable mindset. At its core, Sombre feels like a statement on the irredeemable aspects of humanity. It suggests that some people are beyond saving, understanding, and beyond rehabilitation. It's a bleak and uncompromising viewpoint, and the film never attempts to soften that message. Ultimately, this is not a film I could really recommend to most viewers because of the subject matter alone will be too much for many people, especially people that aren't familiar with extreme French cinema. And even those who can handle it may find the experience more punishing rather than rewarding. However, it's also hard to dismiss it entirely as an art house horror film. It is incredibly well shot, thoroughly constructed, and powerfully acted. It achieves exactly what it sets out to do, even if what it sets out to do is deeply unpleasant. So, while I can't recommend Sombre in a traditional sense, I can acknowledge its merit. It's a flawed, undeniable, effective piece of filmmaking that explores the darkest corners of humanity and human behavior. Just
with
be aware of
unflinching
what you're
intensity.
getting into. This is a film that comes with heavy trigger warnings and is not easily shaken off. So, my review for this movie is a 3 out of 5.